We are back again with another video, and this honestly I think is going to be the biggest video that I have done yet, and I am so excited to get to it. Couple things before we do. It is currently 7:15 p.m. here in Connecticut where I live, so I'm sorry if the lighting isn't perfection, but it is also currently June 11th, and this is the first chance that I am getting to sit down this month and film. This month is crazy. Between work, family stuff, school not being over here in Connecticut yet, and both of my children playing on not one, not two, not three, but 4 different sports leagues, I have not had a spare second to sit down. So we're embracing it. Also, currently, right up inside here is my pool area, and my 2 crazy boys are up there playing. So there's going to be a little bit of background noise, but we're making it work. They're living their best lives, and I love it. So they're up in the pool. You're going to hear them. Okay, so let's get into what today's video is about. I have wanted to do this tag for so long because I love the concept of it. I got involved in BookTube, YouTube with books, because of the following people that I wanted to highlight and talk about in this video today. And what better way to talk about them and the things I love about them than to chat with them and tell them to pick and ask them, I should say, to pick what their favorite of 2 options are so that they can make my TBR for June. And that's exactly what we did. So let's take a minute to talk about who these creators and booktubers are, why they inspired me, and then we'll talk about the book that they chose for me. So this is my favorite creators pick my June TBR. Let's get right into it. So the first booktuber I messaged and asked to choose for me is none other than Miss Alexa Ray. First of all, Alexa is adorable. She's so cute. And not only does she do some of the best reading vlogs on YouTube, but her organizational videos are so inspiring. I could seriously watch this girl organize her bookshelves over and over again for videos and videos and videos straight. It is so good. She also recently did this series of her building, I believe it was 2 TBR book carts, and I swear to God, I could watch an entire series of her just building furniture. There's something about watching people organize that's so relaxing and satisfying. Alexa reads mostly romance, but she's been dipping her toes into fantasy lately, and I'm literally living for it. I love it so much, and I feel like her preferences are very similar to mine. So I went ahead and I messaged Miss Alexa and I gave her a choice between 2 books. I said, would you like me to read Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie or Flawless by Miss Elsie Silver? I gave her these 2 options and she chose Flawless by Miss Elsie Silver. I am so excited to read this book. From what I know about this book, it is a small town country bull rider romance, and I cannot wait to read this. I've heard so many amazing things about it. I feel like this book really blew up on BookTube and Bookstagram, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on my TBR list for June. Okay, so moving on, I messaged Miss Juliana from Books with JB here on Instagram. She is so adorable. I love her videos. I love her Bookstagram, but it would not be a Lindsay video if I didn't just make the slightest little error and screw up. I accidentally messed up my list and I sent Alexa and Juliana the same choices. And at first I had this moment where I was like, oh no, and I was going to send them something else, but it happened to work out because I sent Miss Juliana Flawless and Addicted to You as well. Alexa selected Flawless, but Juliana selected Addicted to You. So I went ahead and just let that stand. So we are going to read both of these books in June. However, let's talk about Miss Juliana first and why I love her. So I've been loving Juliana's Bookstagram account lately. Her channel has been like hot girl summer inspo. She just recently went on a birthday trip to a Caribbean island, and I've been watching her like gorgeous Caribbean tropical photos of like her reading on the beach, and it massively inspired me. I just feel like reading on the beach in the sunlight in the summer by the pool in your bathing suit, getting a tan, living your best life. It's so inspiring for reading. So her book hauls though. Her book hauls are probably my favorite videos. Her book hauls are addicting. They're amazing. I love her content. Probably my favorite video that Juliana does is her reading vlogs. Her reactions crack me up. If you watch any of her reactions, she has the funniest facial expressions when she's reading. And she recently read the A Court of Thorns and Roses series.
I can't remember.
Hashtag straight out of the pool. Hey, you're on my books. Don't drip on the books. Or the iPad. But mostly the books.
Get me Ben and Jerry.
Yeah. Anyways, if you watch Juliana's reading vlogs, her reactions crack me up. She most recently just read the ACOTAR series, and there was this scene of her sitting in her white chair reading Asimov. And I distinctly remember reading that book, and my reactions were spot on similar. They were the same. Her expressions are so funny, and they were so similar to mine. So, like I said, she went ahead and chose Addicted to You by Becca and Krista Ritchie. This book is about two toxic people struggling with different addictions in their lives and how their friendship and possibly relationship copes with it. And full disclosure, I already read this. So like I said, it's June 11th, and for the last 11 days, I've kind of been picking at this and reading it. So I already read this book. I'm going to give my thoughts at the end, but we are one book down on our June TBR because this is where I started. Okay, the next creator I messaged was none other than Miss Natalie Lawyer on BookTube. This girl is so adorable. First of all, I could not even talk about Natalie without first pointing out that her hair is goals. She does the cutest hairstyles. She has like the cutest bows. She always looks adorable. So spot on, just aesthetically spot on. Second of all, beyond that, her reading challenges are always up to date. She is on top of like the newest reading trends and reading challenges, and she does them in such an entertaining way. I love watching her videos. They are relaxing. I love her take on books. The other thing that I like about her is she reads a lot of books that I haven't heard about, which is cool. So she has a lot of varied reading, and just generally from an aesthetic standpoint, her thumbnail game is on point all the time. I love her thumbnails. I think they're adorable. Every single time I see one of them pop up on YouTube, I'm like, click. I get drawn right in. I'm like a moth to a flame. So her thumbnail game is on point. So I messaged Miss Natalie Lawyer, and I gave her the option between Things We Never Got Over by Miss Lucy Score and Icebreaker by Miss Hannah Grace. And Natalie told me to read Things We Never Got Over by Miss Lucy Score. I am so excited. I've been holding off on reading Lucy Score. This is going to be my first Lucy Score, and I'm really, really excited about it. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I watch BookTube, a lot of times I like tap forward and I fast forward through book synopses because I prefer going in more or less blind. So I don't know a ton about this book, but basically on the back it says, bearded bad boy Barbara Knox prefers to live his life the way he takes his coffee, alone. Naomi isn't just running away from her wedding. She is riding to the rescue of her exchange twin to Knockemout, Virginia. Too bad for Naomi, her evil twin hasn't changed at all, and there's a reason Knox doesn't do complications or high maintenance women. At least that's the plan until the trouble turns to real danger. So I don't know if this is like a romance with an element of like thriller mystery. I have no idea. She's pretty thick. But I'm really excited to delve into Lucy Score because I have an entire section of my bookshelf dedicated to her books, and I've never read anything by her. So I'm really excited to delve into my first Lucy Score. So that is what Natalie picked. Thanks, Natalie. Okay, the next booktuber I messaged was none other than Miss Shanasi Schroeder. I don't even know where to start when I'm talking about this gorgeous woman's videos because her videos are like the perfect mix of books and ASMR to me. She just exudes this like calming, peaceful energy, and you genuinely feel it when you watch her videos. So in her videos, she reads in like all of these different locations. Like sometimes she'll be reading in a park, sometimes she'll be reading in a coffee shop, sometimes, in my favorite, she'll be reading on like the docks because she lives on this gorgeous lake. So she'll go out onto the docks by her lake and she'll just sit with a blanket in the grass or on the docks and read by the water. And I just feel like it's so calming and relaxing. Every single time I watch one of her videos and I'm out doing something or I'm out struggling to find the time to read, I'm like, I'm going to go home and sit on my couch by my pool in this very aesthetic setting, and I'm going to prioritize reading because Shanasi did. It's just calming vibe perfection. She was actually my inspiration, fun fact, to start BookTube. I was watching this video that she did, and I'll never forget it. She was actually recording in her car, and she went on to talk about, if you've been wanting to start a BookTube and do this, like, you should, because if anyone found her videos and were watching her and valued her opinion, like, there's someone out there that'll watch your videos and value your opinion. And I don't know why, but in that moment, on that particular day, I just listened to her talk about it, and it really, like, spoke to me and stuck with me. And I said, you know what? Absolutely. Like, you only live once. You have one beautiful life, and somebody might be out there that wants to hear my opinion, because I listened to Shanasi's opinion, and I'm just like, I eat it up and I love it. And something about her, she really just has been blessed with this very calming and peaceful vibe to her. And I cannot say enough for how much her videos calm me at the end of the long day. However, besides for her reading vlogs and watching her read in all these really cool locations, I absolutely love her book hauls. She does Amazon book hauls, like these smaller bookstores book hauls, because she really is a proponent and a lover of, like, small bookstores and giving support to small community businesses. So she does these bookstore vlogs that she goes into these smaller shops, and she just really showcases books that not a lot of other people are talking about. So I really, really love that. So I messaged Miss Shanasi, and I gave her the option of, grab up, Taylor Jenkins Reid, Carrie Soto is Back, or Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. And Shanasi picked Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I am so excited to read this book. So this is kind of like a lit fic, like maybe even like a little bit of light historical fiction lit fic about Carrie Soto, who is a tennis player who I believe is in retirement. And I believe someone who is still competing is about to beat her record, and that just will not stand. So I believe Carrie Soto comes out of retirement to try to maintain her, I'm sorry, she's a tennis player. I don't even think I said that. Carrie Soto is a professional tennis player, and she comes out of retirement to try to maintain her tennis record, I believe is what it's about. I really think this is going to be a really nice departure from, like, romances, fantasies, things like that. And I've never, oh wait, yes, I have read a Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read Daisy Jones and the Sixth. So this is going to be a little bit of a different Taylor Jenkins Reid, I think. So, and I actually believe that Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Sixth, and Carrie Soto is Back, I think they exist in, like, the same universe. I think they're standalone novels. You don't have to read them all together, but I believe they exist in the same universe. So fun fact about me, played tennis most of my life. I played competitively, so I'm really excited to kind of get back into the world. I do know a lot about tennis, and I'm excited to see how Taylor Jenkins Reid writes tennis players and writes about tennis, and particularly to read about Carrie Soto. So I'm really excited for this. Can't wait. Thank you, Shanasi. Okay, so the next creator I messaged was none other than Miss Anna from Anna M. Reads here on Instagram. She is so adorable, and full disclosure, she is single-handedly the first Instagrammer or Bookstagrammer, I should say, that I found, and she introduced me to Bookstagram. I happened to just be scrolling aimlessly through the black hole of Instagram one day, and one of her photos with a book popped up as something that I would be recommended or would interest me, and the vibe upon it, I still to this day don't know how she comes up with her photo ideas. They're just so beautiful and creative, and I love her settings when she sets up a photo. So her reels also, they never fail to make me want to pick up the book that she's reading. So, like, if I see Anna reading a book, she puts together a photo or a reel in this super aesthetic way, and it makes me want to, like, cancel all my other reading plans and pick up the book that she's reading. I really honestly enjoy her content. I think they're so aesthetically pleasing. Actually, recently I've actually been procrastinating picking up Magnolia Parks in that series because I think it's going to do a lot of emotional damage to me, and I could see myself getting really hooked on it, and I just don't know emotionally if I can do that right now. But Anna recently read Magnolia Parks, I believe one, possibly two, and I swear to God, I saw her content and her reviews and her photos of Magnolia Parks, and there was part of me that for a split second was like, maybe I don't need to read anything else ever. Like, maybe I just need to pick up Magnolia Parks and quit procrastinating, just because anything that Anna reads, I just instantly want to pick up and read. So I gave Anna the option between Throttled and Brutal Prince, and she chose Throttled by Lauren Asher. I'm really excited about this one too because this is going to be my first Lauren Asher. I haven't read anything by her yet, and I've really been meaning to get into it. So this is a F1 racing, I believe it's brother's enemy romance. I believe the main male character in this book is a F1 racer. Okay. Thank you so much for that addition. I believe the male main character in this book is the main female character's older brother's like workplace F1 racing rival. And I'm assuming that she ends up falling for him or having a thing with him. So Throttled by Lauren Asher. Thank you so much, Anna. All right, moving right along to the next one. I messaged the fantasy queen herself, Miss Rachel from Raven Haired Reader on Bookstagram and BookTube. If you have never watched Rachel's content or her challenges or her reviews of fantasy series, like what have you been doing? You need to. She is, like I said, the fantasy queen. To me, Rachel is like the pinnacle of fantasy recommendations. She is the expert. She has read every fantasy and romantasy series, and she puts out the most in-depth reviews of these books. Like, I come out of her reviews completely spoiler-free, but feeling like I know the book series that she read. Her voice is so soothing to me, and she has the ability to like perfectly summarize the most complicated worlds in fantasy while being spoiler-free. It's really amazing. Like, I always come off of her reviews and I'm like, how did she not give away a single thing? But yet I know exactly the main synopses of the book and what it's about. And you can still take one of her reviews, read the book, and be like, how did she so perfectly summarize this book while giving away literally nothing? She is the queen of fantasy. I'm going to keep saying it. Every time she talks about a new fantasy, I'm like, add to cart. Rachel, I actually did it today. I just watched her video today, and I can link it, about her romantasy, like TBR, like the next couple of books she's going to read. And she recommended Kiss of Iron by Claire Sager. And I paused the video, opened up my Amazon app, and added it to cart. No questions asked. I was just like, if Rachel's reading it, if Rachel likes it and it looks appealing to her, add to cart, it's mine. So I thought it was only appropriate to give the queen of fantasy 2 fantasy books, since we have a bunch of romance, a little bit of lit fic. So I gave her the choice between Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa and Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. And the fantasy queen, Miss Raven Haired Reader herself, chose Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. I am so excited. I have been wanting to read this book for so long, and secretly between these two, even though I really wanted to read Rhapsodic, I was like, I don't know if I want to put off reading Dawn of Onyx that much longer. So this book is about Arwen Valendale, never expected to be the brave one, offering her life to save her brothers. Now she's been taken prisoner by the most dangerous kingdom on the continent and made to use her rare magical abilities to heal the soldiers of the vicious Onyx King. But here in Onyx Kingdom, trust is a luxury Arwen can't afford. To make it out... Rude.
What?
That was a rude mosquito. Did you see that?
No.
It just randomly did like a circle around my head. But to make it out of enemy territory, she'll have to navigate backstabbing royals, dark magic, and dangerous beasts. I am so excited to read this book. Thank you so much, Rachel. I am so excited to read it, and I can't wait to tell you my thoughts after I'm done. Next, I messaged Rachel Turns the Page. She is one of my favorite Bookstagrammers, and she does these posts on Bookstagram where she has like the book in the center of her post with the arrows to the different tropes of the book. And there's something about that just perfectly gives you like the main bullet points of exactly what the book is going to be about. And it's so nice to scroll through her page, and you can so quickly like yay or nay the book based on your interests. And she takes the time. If you look at those posts, you're like, oh wow, okay, that's for me or that's not for me, and that's your initial reaction. But if you scroll down to the caption, she takes the time to write these paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of some of the most well thought out reviews you will ever see on Bookstagram. She goes so in depth, spoiler free once again, but she goes so in depth. So you'll be scrolling through her page, you see the little arrows with the tropes, and then you scroll down if it kind of sort of interests you and you want to know more about it, and you can read more in depth about it. And there's something about that to me which is just so efficient, and it's it's unmatched, honestly. It just pleases me to no end. And I've taken so many recommendations just from this girl's posts with the arrows and the tropes. I just love it. There's something so clean and simple, but so well thought out about it that I cannot express to you. Please go follow her. She blesses your feed. You will scroll through. You will never look at Instagram the same way. You will scroll through and see these posts, and it gives you so much book inspiration. Please go follow Rachel. So I messaged Rachel and I gave her the choice between Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld and The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I read the first book in this series. It's like standalone, but in the first Interconnected World. I read the first book in this Interconnected World, which was Mr. Wrong Number, last month. So I felt comfortable putting a second book in a series as one of the options. But if you haven't read Mr. Wrong Number, you should probably go and read that first. So I gave her these two options, and Miss Rachel chose The Love Wager by Mrs. Lynn Painter. So I am so excited to dive right back into this world, because if you've watched my last video, Mr. Wrong Number was a super hit for me. I believe I gave it either 4 or 4.5 stars, 4.25 stars. It was a hit. I loved the writing style. I loved the way she wrote romance. There was a perfect amount of spice, and I really like it because Lynn Painter does write YA romances, but Mr. Wrong Number and The Love Wager are her adult romance series. So there was the perfect amount of very well done spice, and I really liked it. I know absolutely nothing about this book besides for what it says on the back, because that's how I prefer to go into things. But it says, Hallie Piper is turning over a new leaf. After belly crawling out of a hotel room, hello rock bottom, she decides it's time to become a full-on adult. She gets a new apartment, a new haircut, a new wardrobe. But when she logs on to the dating app that she is determined will find her new love, she sees none other than Jack Marshall, the guy whose room she snuck out of. So just the first paragraph of the synopsis, I'm going to say it's probably like one night stand, second chance hookup type thing. So I'm really excited to read this. Thank you so much, Rachel. Go subscribe to her on Instagram. She is awesome. Moving right along, I messaged Catherine from A Bit Booked on Instagram. To me, she is the Instagram bookstagram page with the most aesthetic romance recommendations in the game right now. But then she'll post these like multi-frame posts as well on Instagram that say like 3 audiobooks that slay, or like 12 second chance love books. And you can swipe through these multiple posts and it gives you like 12 books that are second chance romances that she recommends, or 3 audiobooks that she recommends. And there's something about getting like multiple recommendations in one post that's just super inspirational to me. And I love seeing, it's almost like you're getting like an overall view of what she's recommending. And I really love that. So after you click on her multi-point reviews, it'll be followed by like these bullet point reviews that can convince me in 10 words or less to read a book. It's an art form. I swear to God. She does these very quick bullet point reviews, and there's something about it that's just so efficient that I can just like scroll to one of her posts, read these like 10 bullet points and be like, yes, that's for me. I love it. I love the aesthetic. I love the multiple point reviews. She does like very specific recommendations as well. Like, I don't think I've seen another bookstagrammer that does like 3 audiobook reviews or 12 second chance like audiobook reviews. I really love her stuff. I find a lot of inspiration in her posts. So I messaged her and I gave her Part of Your World by Miss Abby Jimenez. And I also gave her Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. This one would be on my Kindle. I do not own the physical copy of it. So I gave her these 2 choices, and Miss Catherine from A Bit Booked chose Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is going to be my first Abby Jimenez, and I am so excited to read it. This book is about Alexis Montgomery, who has her world turned upside down, and it says the cause Daniel Grant, a ridiculously hot carpenter who's 10 years younger than her and as casual as they come, the complete opposite of sophisticated city girl Alexis, and yet their chemistry is undeniable. While her ultra-wealthy parents want her to carry on the family legacy of the world-renowned surgeons, Alexa doesn't need glory or fame. She's fine with being a mere ER doctor, and every minute she spends with Daniel in the tight-knit town where he lives, she's discovering just what's really important. So workplace romance, possibly? Small town romance, possibly? I'm really excited. I've heard really wonderful things about Abby Jimenez's writing, and specifically this book. I don't remember whether it's this book or yours truly that I heard there's really great anxiety representation in one of the characters too, so I'm excited about that. Thank you so much, Catherine. The next creator I messaged was Miss Haley from Some Long Stories Shorter on Instagram. This Instagram page, and Haley does the most interesting, intriguing Instagram reviews and posts. And my favorite thing that she does that's so unique to Haley is she recommends a book and you read the synopsis, if you scroll down on her post, she does songs that remind her of that book. So basically, once you read her review, you're also getting like a little 5 to 6 song mini playlist of her recommendations that remind her of the book. And I just think that's so cute. As someone who loves to read with my noise canceling AirPods on, with a really inspiring, really vibey aesthetic playlist on, I love reading her recommendation and then having her say, like, these are the songs that I recommend for this book. I don't think I've seen another Instagrammer on BookTube or Bookstagram that are giving their playlist recommendations for books. I find that so interesting, so unique, and so inspirational. So I messaged her and I gave Miss Haley a choice between Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros and The Serpent of the Wings and Night by none other than Miss Carissa Broadbent. And Haley chose Fourth Wing by Miss Rebecca Yarros. That recommendation for me, I honestly was excited about both books, so she could do no wrong. But there was this little part of me that was like, this book is being so hyped on Bookstagram and BookTube, and there is this large part of me that just needs to know if the hype is worth it and what the hype is all about. And I'm actually seeing right now that I was listening to Destiny Sidwell's video, and she was talking about the trials that she had to go through to find a copy of this book. And she said that when she tried or attempted to order it online, there was like a 1 to 2 month back order for it, which is so crazy because I actually pre-ordered this. So I just got it in the mail when it released, and I did get the Barnes & Noble US special edition, the first edition sprayed edges print. But this book has been blowing up so aggressively. I don't think I've seen a hyped up fantasy release. I'm like trying to think a hyped up fantasy release bigger than this since like Miss Sarah Janet and one of her releases. So I'm so excited to read this. What I understand this to be about from the hype is that this is about a girl who goes to a dragon riders war college, but I think you don't have to be a dragon rider. I think you could choose between like scribe, all sorts of different stuff. But I am really excited to read about this war college fantasy world with dragons. You could do no wrong. So thank you, Miss Haley. This was the perfect recommendation, and I'm so excited to read it. Okay, so moving right along, next I messaged Miss Gia Noel on Instagram. This girl is a booktuber who is killing the game right now. Killing the game. I feel like this month, so she does these really cute Instagram posts where she like thanks followers for new subscriptions, and she went over 100 subscribers this month, and I think she's already closing in on like 130 if I'm correct. Like, she is killing it right now. I'm so happy and excited and proud of her. She is killing the game. So if you go on to her YouTube video, honestly could not tell you what I prefer more on her YouTube, whether I prefer like her book hauls and her book videos or her lifestyle life vlogs. She does like grocery hauls and thrifting hauls that are really interesting as well. And it keeps her page really, it's just varied and you never know what you're going to get, and it's interesting. So although she does a lot of great book content that's awesome, she also does these lifestyle videos that are top notch as well. I love her channel. She's one of those people when I see she posts, I'm like, watch right now. I love her page. I would say probably the number one thing that draws me to Gia's page is the variety. It's so refreshing, and I can't recommend her more. So I gave Miss Gia the choice between The Fine Print by Lauren Asher and Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and Gia chose Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I am so excited to dive into Christina Lauren. Once again, just like Abby Jimenez, I have never read a book by her, and she has an entire section on my bookshelf. From what I understand about this book, which is like arguably probably one of the most loved romance books in BookTube, I believe this is a childhood friends to lovers, a little bit of second chance romance tropes, I believe. So I'm really excited to read this. Thank you, Gia. So to finish up, although all of my favorite creators gave me such fantastic recommendations, I really didn't feel as though I could say that my favorite and most inspirational people messaged me their recommendations without asking my viewers and my followers what their recommendations were. So in order to hear directly from you guys, I put up 2 posts for my followers to choose a book. I put up a post on Lemon8 and a post on Instagram. So my first post on Lemon8 gave my viewers and my subscribers the choice between The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune and Heartless by Marissa Meyer, and you guys chose Heartless by Marissa Meyer. So this is a Queen of Hearts fantasy retelling. I believe the main female character is the future Queen of Hearts. And I know there's a little bit of a romance or like an arranged marriage, I believe, in this book, but I believe there's also a subplot where she wants to open a bakery. Like instead of having and going through with this arranged marriage, she wants to open a bakery instead. I've heard it's really cute. I've heard it's a really quick, simple read. So I'm really excited to get into this. So thank you, my amazing, beautiful subscribers on Lemon8 for recommending this. I'm so excited to read this in June. So then I put a post up on Instagram so that all of my subscribers over on my Instagram could choose. All links will be below if you would like to take part in these polls on another TBR video. But I gave my Instagram subscribers the choice between Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino and Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. And they chose Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. I am so excited to read this. First of all, this is probably one of my favorite covers that I have on my bookshelf. The red and the pink and the white is just like, it jumps out, it pops, and it's just super pleasing to me. So I really love this cover. But I'm also really excited to read this. And I actually did just pick up the second book, which just released this week. So I'm really excited to read this. Thank you all of my Instagram subscribers for recommending this. I'm so excited that you did. So without further ado, this is it. This is our June TBR. I am so excited for this. It's getting really heavy, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold it much longer, but I'm really excited for this because to me, when I look at this stack, I have a really, really good mix of genres. I have some romance, I have some fantasy, I have some lit fic, and I'm so excited to get into this. So, like I said, I already read the first book. Let's see if I can dig it out here, which was Addicted to You by Becca and Krista Ritchie. I did read this in the first week of June while I didn't have time to film, and I really, really, really liked it. So I did update my Goodreads, and I gave this book, I believe it was a 4.5 in my rating, but I rounded it down to a 4 on Goodreads, just because it didn't quite give me that like 5-star feeling. There was a couple of problematic themes in this book, or problematic dialogues, or just, you know, like a very, very prominent theme of codependency in a toxic relationship that just didn't give me that like ultimate 5-star feeling. So I did round this down to a 4 stars on Goodreads. But in this book, we follow Lo and Lily, our main characters. Lo is an alcoholic and Lily is addicted to sex. She's a sex addict. And they have been good friends since they were young. They're both from very prominent, very privileged families, and they have been very good friends since they were young. And because they were such good friends and they formed this really amazing friendship, they have learned how to cover for each other's addictions. And in covering for each other, they are actually also enabling each other. So Lo covers for Lily and makes her addiction to sex easier, and Lily covers for Lo and makes it easier for him to hide his alcoholism. But it's a mutual benefit. It's like a symbiotic relationship for them. So they allow their families to believe that they've been dating for years, but really they've just been keeping their families off each other's backs so that they could kind of get further into their addictions. And it's a book that explores their friendship, their relationship, their addictions, and it is actually a beautifully written book. I really, really loved it. I highly recommend, and I am so excited to get deeper into this series because there is the Addicted series, which this is, and then there's also the Calloway Sisters series, which follows Lily's sisters and their stories in the books as well. So I loved the writing and the story enough and the dialogue enough to really be excited to continue reading, and I can't wait. So I very highly recommend Addicted to You. And this was our first book in June that I read from our recommendations off of my TBR, and it was a great way to start the month. I really love it. 4.5 stars. Okay, so a small change of scenery because it got so dark outside. The lighting was absolutely messed up. But basically the position that I found myself in was, like I said, we already finished Addicted to You. And now with these incredible recommendations, how do I move forward? Which one do I go into next? And I decided that what I was going to do was I was going to use a random spinner that I found on my iPad, and I'm going to do 3 random spins to pick my next 3 reads in this order. I'm going to try to read all of these, if not most of them, for June, but my next 3 I figured it'd be fun to do a little spin, see what we come out with. So I have put, let me show you, all of our choices in here. It created this spin wheel. I'm going to hit spin and it's going to send us a random choice. So let's go ahead and get this screen recording started so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here we go. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Okay, so that's going to be one of our first 3 books. Let me go ahead and pick this one out. Okay. All right. We're going to do another spin. So let's go ahead and remove Things We Never Got Over. Okay. Doing another one. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Okay. Pick that one out of our stack. And let's do one more just for fun. Okay, ready? And spin. Throttled by Lauren Asher. Oh my goodness. Okay. So these are our 3 books that we are going to read first off of that list from our fabulous creators. I think I'm going to go ahead and start my next read as Throttled. This should be a nice, quick, simple read. It's relatively short. I believe it's only like 340 pages. I'm really excited to dive into Lauren Asher, and I'm going to pick Throttled as my next pick. So before I head out, I just want to say thank you so much to the amazing creators who took their time, their valuable time, and their valuable energy to answer my messages and to give me recommendations. I really am so honored that you even took your time and energy to message back to me and give me your opinions. I cannot wait to read these books. I really feel like because of you guys, I have an all-star lineup of where to go next in my reading journey. And I am so thrilled about my June TBR. So if you guys loved this, please go and subscribe, like and subscribe to all of their channels, comment, tell them I sent you over, and I will see you on the next one.